Welcome back, fellow airbrushers. Now, you've seen in the time lapse at the beginning, I've got loads to talk to you before we even start this. I'm going to go through all the products with you and things that we're doing, and I've got a little mini review on something that I'm going to show you in a minute. Now, we started off, the paper that I'm using is the one that I primed in this video, guys. So if you have a look on the channel and you want to know how to prime some paper, that's the video to look for. So we're using this paper today. Now, off camera, I came in the studio this morning to prep some of this paper up, some of the ones I've just done on the channel. Now, I went over with an 800 grit block with a disc on it and just went over the top, gave it a couple of passes, smoothed any imperfections out, and then blew it off, and then got a tack rag and just wiped a tack rag over to get any excess dust off. So the piece of paper was nice and clean, nice white, and we're good to go. So then we moved in. You came into the video straight on the time lapse and you've seen me projecting the image up, and it said I was using transfer paper. Now, we've got the transfer paper on this piece here. Now, transfer paper, if you don't know what it is, it's basically used in the sign industry for transferring graphics across to vehicles and things like that. It's basically a throwaway product in the sign industry. You'd put your graphic across, you then pull this piece off, which leaves your graphic on your vehicle, and then you throw that piece away. But using it for airbrushing comes in really handy because it's low tack. So if you're using it on a panel, it's easy to apply and pull off. And it's also got a paper face. So if you wanted to do what we did in the beginning of the video where you project it up, you can pencil on top of it. And then you've seen in the next time lapse, I cut the image out. I did some locating marks. If you're doing what I've done, when you project your artwork up, if you've got your transfer tape on, just put a little bit of key markers, like a little hairline cross, across from your paper underneath to your transfer paper. So when you move it away and cut your image out, when you go to place it back on, all you've got to do is line your markers up and it will locate it and get it in the right place for you. So that's what I did. So this is good to go. We've got all the pencil outline on the inners, and then we've got the application tape to the outers. Now, the reason why you'd use application tape in airbrushing, if you want a real sharp, crisp image, and this is what I wanted on this, because we've got the airbrush, it's got some very sharp edges and the spider legs are very crisp and sharp on the image. So doing it this way, when you spray, all your paint overspray is contained on the piece that you're working on. So any overspray that goes over goes onto the application tape. So when you take that away at the end, the image will pop really, really sharp. It just keeps all your surrounding paper nice and clean. And that's what I wanted to do today. Now, as you can see, it's quite dark here, so I'll be working under this light. Now, airbrushes.com have just sent me out a new light, and I think it is really cool, guys. If you've got an easel like I'm working on here and you're looking for a light source to basically sit above it, I'd go for one of these because they're absolutely brilliant. This is a craft light and it's got a flexible arm. So I can position this light to where I want. It's LED, it's dimmable, and it's got colour settings as well. So if you wanted to work under a warmer tone of light, if you're doing a picture that's got a lot of warm colours, or you want to warm your image up, because usually if you're painting, you sort of work from the light source that you've got above you. So if you've got a warm tone, you tend to warm the picture up. A cooler tone, you cool the picture down. So to turn this on is basically it's just all touch sensitive, 3-pin plug that plugs into your mains. You also get adapters for different plugs around the world. So you get all your different plugs that you just clip on, nice and simple. You've got a bracket just here. So this will screw to your tabletop. So if you work on a flat surface, you can mount this and clamp it to your table and then bend the arm round. So if you're working on miniatures, things like that, where you need to move your light source nice and close, you can do that with this. It's touch sensitive, so you just turn it on like that. So this one's set for a daylight setting I've got coming down here. And now I can move this round to where I want. If I wanted to dim this down a bit and take a little bit of that glare out, you just keep your finger on it and then you can dim the light to what you want and press it again, and then you can bring the light source back up to full. If I wanted to warm this up, just press it again and then that'll give you a warmer tone, and you can do the same again on that tone. You can press your finger on it and take the dimmer level up and down. If you want to warm it up again, just press it once more and then you can really warm it up, and then you can dim that up and down again as well. So that's the light. I'll leave a link in the description. This is on promotional offer as well, so it is a good buy, guys, because they're doing a promotion on it. They also do different ones. I think they do bigger ones as well. You can also get the ones with the magnifying glasses, where it's the big ring light and it's got the magnifier on top with the flexible arm. They do them as well. But I find this is perfect for in here, over this easel. It gives just the right amount of light. It casts my shadows down, so when I'm working, my shadows are always below my brush, which is good. You don't want shadows coming in from the side when you're working, else you're working in a casted shadow, and that can change the tones and contrasts of your colours when you're working. So that's a bit about that. The brush we're using today is the one we're going to paint. So we've got the new Evolution CR Plus on the panel here, and that's the one we're using today. So a little bit about the brush, a little quick sort of review on the brush. If you've got the old Evolution, because I've seen a few comments saying, what's the new one like? Should I get the new Evolution? I do own the old one. There are big changes on the new ones, guys. There really are. It's basically a completely different brush when it comes to the way it paints, the way it cleans, the feel of it, the feedback of it, the adjustments that you've got on it. They're just better. They really have put a lot of time and thought into this brush. Different trigger assembly on here as well. You'll find with the old Evolution, when you clean it, they take a bit longer to clean out. You'll put a few more passes of water to blast through to give it a good full clean. You'll find with the new ones, these ones can dump the paint a lot quicker because you've got more throw on the trigger. So it really opens up that needle from the front and you can clear your paint through a lot quicker. The trigger tops are wider, which is a lot more comfortable, and it's very nicely radiused off, so it's nice and comfortable wherever you put your finger on the trigger. You've not got any high sharp points on the top of the trigger, so nice and comfortable. You've got a cutaway to the back now on these, so if you wanted to dump, you can pull back that way as well to dump your paint out. On the backs, these may look the same to the old Evolution, but this is different again. These have been machined with a different thread throw. So before, where you used to turn these right the way in, and that stops your trigger, and then you'd have to like unscrew, and then dial in. This is a quarter turn, and you've got more movement. Quarter turn again, you've got a lot more movement, and then quarter turn, you've got like your full trigger. So it's a quicker setting guide on the back to dial in very fast. You've got your prong cap to the front. This brush is running 0.28, and you also get, if you get the twin set, you get the 0.45 in it as well. What makes it clean up faster and quicker as well is Harder and Steenbeck have started doing the chrome plating to the insides of the cups. You'll notice this on a lot of airbrushes and older airbrushes, they always get tarnished inside. After time, you'll look inside your cup and you just start to see that tarnish ring that goes down inside the body. They always do it. You get the nice bright chrome to the outside, but the inside's always tarnished. So on the new editions, these are mirror finish like the outer, and that goes all the way down to the body at the front. And this is why I say it cleans through a lot quicker. Running pressure on this today, we're running 25 psi on the main line, like that, and then I can dial it in on the little regulator I've got on my quick connect. So if I'm going up really close, I need to dial it in. I can just set the pressure to what I want going in close. So that's the brush. Paints is a mixed bag, and you will find this as well, guys. If you stick to sort of one brand, if you're permanently working with illustration and that's the colour that you use, that's the brand that you use, you'll know the paint, you'll know how to mix it. Every paint that you use, all the different brands, they all need different thinning ratios. So we can't just go from that like a 1-to-1 and then jump straight onto that and go like 1-to-1. I think the golden needs like 2 more drops of water to 1 drop of paint. Same goes with the FW ink. You can go straight out the bottle, but if you wanted to thin it, I'd probably go 1-to-1 or 2-to-1. I've also got some cheaper paints which would probably need 4-to-1. And you'll find this putting them through your airbrushes. If you're used to Createx and you're using a detail brush, you'll know how that brush will react and flow. You'll hear it. And I'll be having to change all the mixing ratios as I go along. I've mixed a couple of bits of paint up already for the spider, and I've had to change the mixing ratios, and I'll be testing. It's always good, guys, to have a piece of paper to the side of you here. Always do that when you work, whether you're working on a gas tank airbrushing, have a piece of paper to the side and just go to the side before you commit on your artwork. Test your paint, check your air pressure, get it flowing nice, and then commit to your artwork. But just always revert back to going to your scrap piece of paper and just checking it. So I'll stick you in time lapses on this. We'll do the spider first. You'll see the spider go in. Then I'll stop, talk you through, show you some of the paints that I've mixed, because I've just mixed some proper random colours. I'm doing it my own style. And then we'll move over to, we'll do the same again. We'll move over to the Evo part. We'll paint the Evo, break, and then we'll do the last part where we demask and we put the drop shadows in. So I'll see you in the first time lapse. Right guys, this is the first pause. We've got the spider down, the first stage of the spider. We've put a few highlights in. Now the colours that are mixed, when you look at this on the screen, it basically looks black. Now I didn't want to just go in with jet black legs, so I went in with like I started off with a raw sienna hue, dropped a little bit of sepia in it and dropped a few drops of black in it and just made sort of like a warm type black. And then went round and put a pass in. So I was giving the sort of legs sort of a shape, and then went in with the darker black just over the top, built the reds up, and then just popped a few highlights in. This will look totally different. This will pop even more because you've got like a cream coloured, looks near enough cream application tape. When you take this off, and it will just sharpen everything up, and then we put the drop shadows on, that's when the spider will give it that 3D look, when the drop shadows are put in. And then we can put all the little fine little hair flick outs that are on the legs, the little tiny little like little hairs that come out. We can drop them in with an artist brush or even a black watercolour pencil and just put some tiny little flick outs, just put them little hair type textures on the legs coming round. So we're going to move on to the brush. I'm going to just use Createx Illustration Payne's Grey on the brush. We'll use the eraser. I'll mix the sort of yellowy gold colour up for the back pieces. And we're just going to work this in. Where there's the real darks, we'll go in with like a transparent black and just shade them over, and then erase and pop the highlights out and do some scratch backs for the real highlights on the brush. Do the drop shadows and it'll be done. So I'll see you guys in the next time lapse. Right, there you go. We are all done. I hope I caught enough in the time lapses. We got the spider down for a start. I think I caught in the time lapse where we moved on to the brush, and then you might have seen it where I demasked it and it sort of just made this pop. I've gone in and sort of gone in with an eraser, because where I'd located the application tape back on, you'll get some little breakthrough bits where the pencil was just sort of slightly a little bit over than the actual paint line. So I've just gone in and just erased them out. We got the brush down. A little bit tricky to try and get the Evolution logo in on this, because you're looking at sort of trying to paint a chrome body. I would have liked to have painted that bigger. Struggling without my glasses on this, but we've got it down looking like the brush. Signed it there. Dropped all the highlights, dropped the drop shadows now, which make the spider look a little bit more 3D, like it's stepping over the brush, and we dropped the shadow going over the brush there. So it was a piece of artwork that I made up. I found the spider and then made it so the Evolution was underneath the leg and put it together. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Learned a little bit along the way with using application tape and things like that. Don't forget, drop your comments. Check the links in the description. The lights worked absolutely brilliant for doing this. It really has. It's just enough light to work on your piece of artwork. It was just so much better than the big square light that I usually have. It was just way too glaring. So this has been nice. No, not so much strain on my eyes as in glare from the light before. So they work really well. The link will be in the description for them. And the other bits that I've used today, I've just put some links in there, so if you are interested in any of the bits that I've used, the brush, paints, paper and things like that, it'll all be in the description. So drop your comments. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, click that subscribe, press that notification so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.